They're back again?
They're back every time I sit down.
I never.
Bugs. Little ones. Yeah, gnats. 7.
I'm telling them, go over by her.
They're like tiny, and then you see me go like this.
Okay, start of the time. All right. I'd like to please call the meeting to order. If everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Rogers. Present. Trustee Reinders. Present. Trustee Pazmino.
Present.
Trustee Consolino. Present. Trustee Fialco.
Present.
Trustee Laha.
Present.
And Mayor Yukich.
Present. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, sir, I have an amendment, or actually, I'd like to change, under I-4, I'd like to move that to I-2.
Okay. Community and Nature and Harmony Awards, a Big Tree Champions Awards. This is the 20th year of the Community and Nature and Harmony Awards ceremony. Tonight we gather to recognize these individuals and groups who have demonstrated a commitment to the environment and in the process have significantly contributed to the village of Homer Glen. Tonight is also our 3rd year for the Big Tree Champions Award. We would like to recognize these individuals so well. So without further ado, Trustee Pazmino will start the award ceremony.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Good evening, everybody. Nice to see everybody. Welcome to the celebration of the Homer Glen Lands Day, which is celebrated in conjunction with National Public Lands Day on September 25th, 2021. This important day is set aside to show support for recognizing, excuse me, and protecting significant areas in the natural environment. The village proclamation written for this special day in 2001 states, "The village of Homer Glen was founded and incorporated in large part due to the desires of its citizens to preserve the unique and diverse components of the natural environment within the village and to take steps to assist in the further protection and beautification of that environment." Through the efforts of the Environment Committee, the village created the Community and Nature Awards in 2002. Now in 2001, the 20th anniversary for the awards, the village again recognizes individuals, businesses, community organizations, and governmental agencies that have demonstrated a commitment to the environment and in the process significantly contributing to community pride through preservation, restoration, and beautification of land within the village of Homer Glen. In addition to tonight's award ceremony, the Environment Committee also planted an evergreen at Heritage Park to commemorate Homer Glen Lands Day. Now for the award presentation. During the awards recognition, Mayor Yukich will assist in presenting the certificates to individuals and groups. As the Environment Committee members take their places, we'd like to thank the members for coordinating this program. So, are you guys gonna line up in the middle? Okay, here we go. Co-Chairman Jennifer Consolino, Nancy Carlson, Bob Moses, Andy Pinelli, Joe Therese, Gary White, and staff liaisons Melissa King and Sue Stylen. Sounds appropriate. It is with great pleasure that the Environment Committee presents these awards to recognize how individuals can influence and care for the natural environment and to support businesses and organizations who showcase Homer Glen's special character and generate community spirit. We have 14 individuals and property owners that are receiving awards this year. To help move things along, we ask that you come forward as I read your name, proceed to the mayor to receive your certificate, and have a picture taken, and then kindly, please, return to your seats. So for the first, recognizing individuals, the late Mr. Mike DeVivo, for demonstrating a commitment to preserve the environment by significantly contributing to the formation and the incorporation of the Village of Homer Glen, and supporting numerous environmental projects and events for over 20 years. Please give him a round of applause. And accepting his award, Mrs. Marcia DeVivo. And now, sign recipients for the property owners and residents. The inherent beauty of our community would not exist without the care of our property owners. The following awards give recognition to owners who have set an example and inspired neighbors and other residents within Homer Glen. These award recipients will receive a sign to be placed on the property which is being recognized. So when I call your name, please come forward while I read your award acknowledgement. Proceed to Mayor Yukich to receive your certificate and have your picture taken. And then, of course, once you receive your award, please be seated. Harry Abramowitz, for your efforts in restoring or refurbishing Pebble Creek subdivision entrance sign. That was truly amazing. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Inga Carbonara, for your efforts in restoring and refurbishing Meadowview subdivision entrance sign. Very nice, thank you. The Gorth family, for creating an established garden 26 years in the making with over 300 varieties of plants. The garden boasts mature trees with natural plantings and perennial borders. The Mueller family, for establishing a beautiful garden with sections of plants that provide year-long color, variety, and multiple places to sit and enjoy nature. John and Kimberly Patty, for planting a pollinator garden that supports populations of monarch butterflies and many other beneficial insects. There you go. John and Sonia Peterson, for your efforts creating an attractive garden at your entrance to your home that adds beautiful curb appeal to your neighborhood. Thomas Rezak for the planting of numerous evergreen trees of various species in the front yard of your property. Thank you. Sandy Vale, for your efforts continuing Sunshine Garden that showcases a woven mixture of colorful annuals, perennials, and unique conifers. Kenwood Liquors and the Dixon family for protecting the environment through the promotion of reusable plastic-based products used in their business. Annunciation Byzantine Catholic Church, Father Tom Loya. The outstanding commitment to environment through the efforts of long-term maintenance of the Prairie Garden on the church grounds. Very beautiful. Thank you. And by the way, if anybody wants to see pictures of everything that we're giving awards for today, right towards the back of the room, you'll be able to see everything. So next up, these are people that were unable to attend the meeting this evening. Nicole and Dominic Bellantuono for the removal of invasive plants from 4 acres and the seeding of that same land with native plants, seeds, and working to restore the property to a native prairie. Patrick and Christina Maroney for continuing to add beautiful gardens to their backyard. The Homer Glen Bell Plaza Development for beautification of major roadway corridors in Homer Glen with perimeter landscaping installed along the southwest corner of 143rd Street and Bell Road at the Homer Glen Plaza Development. That was a lot of words. So that concludes our awards for the Community Nature Awards. Let's give all the award winners a round of applause. And thank you all for attending this evening and showing your support for this Homer Glen event. Mayor Yukich and trustees, thank you for your support. And we're going to go right into the Big Tree Awards, or actually the Big Tree Champion Contest. And let's see, tonight, the Village of Homer Glen Big Tree Champion Contest. This is the 3rd year for the contest, and we are pleased that we will be adding 6 new trees to our Big Tree Champion list. In addition, we discovered a Norway spruce tree and an ash tree larger than the previous championships. This is an important award that recognizes the need to appreciate and protect the natural environment within the Village of Homer Glen. Champion trees are individual trees which are exceptional examples of their species because of their size, age, or rarity. The Village of Homer Glen was founded and incorporated in large part due to the desires of its citizens to preserve the unique and diverse components of the natural environment within the village, and it takes steps to assist in further protection and beautification of that environment. Through the efforts of the Environment Committee, the village created the Big Tree Champion Contest. This award recognizes citizens that have helped identify and preserve the biggest and most mature trees in our village. We have 6 winners in this year's Big Tree Champion Contest. During the presentation, Mayor Yukich will present the award to the recipients. Pictures will be taken as the certificates are presented, and there will be photo ops as well on the village website. So, without further ado, the first award for the Big Tree Championship Contest would be Robert and Barbara Newman, who have identified a white mulberry tree with a circumference of 73.5 inches. The following winners could not attend tonight, so I'm going to read it all off, and then we'll just give them a big applause at the end, okay? Joe and Christina Fornell, who have identified an ash tree with a circumference measurement of 91 inches. Francine Anderson, who has identified a locust tree with a circumference measurement of 89 inches. The Barnett family, who have identified a Norway spruce tree with a circumference measurement of 100 inches. This tree replaces the current Norway spruce champion. The Barnett family also identified a catalpa tree with a circumference of 119 inches. Lastly, the Moreno family, who have identified a Norway maple with a circumference of 69 inches. So that's all we had for this. Thanks everybody for attending. Thank you, board, once again. And a special thank you for Mr. Joe Therese for going out and measuring each one of these tree nominations. Thank you very much. And that concludes my awards. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, we have to go back to D, approval of the amendments to the agenda. We need to approve the amendment. We need a second and a voice vote.
I'll second.
Okay. It was Mino. And now it's Fielko. And Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Fielko.
Aye.
Trustee Pasmino.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Trustee Consolino.
Aye.
And Trustee Laha.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now can you hear? Okay. Do they have stuff out there for them to eat, or is they just, well, they're all up. If everyone would like to get up and take a look at the back end so you can see what we just got done talking about, and then we will reconvene the meeting.
I'm sure.
read the veto. Okay, we all set? Okay. Next would be reports and communications from the mayor and other officers. Okay, I hate doing this, but I'm going to veto something else. And the reason I'm vetoing it is the ordinance wasn't followed. It needs to be followed, because if we screw up now, everyone that comes before us can do the exact same thing, and it will hurt the village, and that's not what we want. After going through, we went through 2 weeks ago with the ordinances for how people can be placed in office. They came up and they said that things were wrong, and we agree. They are wrong, and we got to fix them. So if we're going to fix them, we're going to fix them from last week on, not starting this week. So, as the president of the Village of Homer Glen, I am hereby submitting my written objections and exercising my authority to veto ordinance number 21-034, which was approved by the Board of Trustees at the August 25th, 2021 Village Board meeting. As you may remember, this ordinance approved a variance request for a resident that constructed a patio and a fireplace without getting village permits or approval beforehand. The patio and the fireplace extended beyond the setback requirements in the village code. The only way the village found out about this is because one of the neighbors complained. The only hardship for this case was self-imposed. By approving this ordinance, the village board may be setting a dangerous precedent. And then what is the point of permits or zoning codes if we do not enforce them? The code is in place to ensure that residents do not negatively impact the properties around them and to protect the character of the village. The village has spent thousands on lawsuits to bring properties into compliance. I fear that by approving this case, others will expect the same result. It is the village board's responsibility to uphold the code. Other than that, let's go to the trustees, and we'll go. That's all I'm reading right now. Reports and communications from mayor and other officers, I'm done. Trustees, will go to trustee Consolino first.
Good evening. I apologize to the residents of Homer Glen that our village will not be hosting a memorial service in recognition of the 20th anniversary of 9/11. Staff and equipment are being sent to a memorial event that is being hosted by Will County in downtown Joliet. Anyone is welcome to attend this event, but for those like myself who would like to assemble locally in Homer Glen for a memorial, I spoke with the Homer Township Board, who are willing to host a small memorial service outside the Homer Township Hall at approximately 9:30 a.m. on Saturday, 9/11. I have also requested the approval of a proclamation tonight honoring the anniversary. Reporting for the Public Safety Committee this month, I was fortunate to accompany some of our fire chiefs to WESCOM, Western Will County Communications Center, for a tour of the state-of-the-art consolidated 9/11 Emergency Dispatch Center, which services both the Homer Fire Department and Northwest Homer Fire Department, as well as 19 other police and fire agencies. In other news with our Public Safety Committee, it has been discussed that a special public meeting will be held at a later date for Long Run Creek residents in regard to the status of their properties and ongoing issues with that area. I would also like to address the personal attacks that I have received during the past several board meetings from the mayor and trustee Rogers. They have both public insulted me and stated that I am not capable of writing an ordinance or my speeches before this board. Unlike the mayor, I do not have staff writing several scripted responses for me while running a board meeting. I'm not a mechanic, I do not own my own company, I have not filed bankruptcy, and I have not worked in real estate, and I do not own pieces of investment property. I am not independently wealthy. However, I did work for the Cook County Sheriff's Office for 19 years. During these 2 decades, I worked tirelessly on a great deal of legal correspondence on a daily basis, because it was my job to do so. I worked as an administrative assistant under several municipal agencies and directors. I also originated, maintained, and consistently updated policies and procedures, standards of operating procedures, general orders, post orders, as well as internal and external memorandums between intergovernmental agencies. My list of responsibilities, skills, and duties goes on and on. layman terms, in layman terms, I personally and independently authored a lot of legal documents, which on occasion were subject to review, just like I did with the ordinance about our attorney, that came before our board for review and for vote. I followed protocol, something our mayor and Trustee Rogers do not like to do, as they admitted and dismissed in the last board meeting. I'd also like to state for public record, for those who don't know or need to be reminded, Trustee Reinders also has a previous background in municipal government. She has worked as a legislative assistant, a clerk to a presiding judge, and as an assistant to the medical director of the Cook County Jail. We are both savvy with administrative and legal processes within a municipality. Since the mayor and Trustee Rogers have continuously badgered me regarding on who authored the ordinance, I figured I should give credit where it is due. First and foremost, I did. I also had some assistants. That assistance came from Trustee Reinders and former Trustee Annie Holtz. I feel now is a good time to bring up Trustee Annie Holtz, because for anyone who has attended our village board meetings over the past several years or watched them on video, it's evident that Mayor Yukich treats me exactly as he did with her, unprofessionally and chauvinistically. Mayor Yukich clearly thinks he is superior to women and can speak to them any way he wants. He doesn't appear to do this to Trustee Rogers, but that could be because she is spoon-feeding him scripted responses while he is seated on this board. I'd also like to point out the hypocrisy by Trustee Rogers during the last board meeting. She had the audacity to accuse another board member of age discrimination. As she did so, our own human resource manager jumped up out of her seat, clapping, and ferociously cheered. Yet when the mayor sits here repeatedly screaming at me, acting unprofessionally, calling me names, attempting to bully and intimidate me, both the village HR manager and Trustee Rogers are quiet and complacent. They may as well be rooting for him to act discriminatory towards women because they do absolutely nothing to discourage it. Our last board meeting proved that the mayor and Trustee Rogers do not believe in following the rules or the ordinances of this village. We are currently in a heated battle over a $100,000 job that they and staff handed to an acquaintance of theirs, a man that self-admittedly stated at that podium that he did not have any of the preferred or minimum requirements for the job of Public Works Director. Our own acting village manager stated that he hired him over qualified applicants because he meshed with the rest of the staff. He also admitted that he applied for the job of assistant village manager, a job that our staff states was not even up for hire. So why did we hire this man for Public Works Director? And why didn't they permit this hire to go before our board for review? So much for transparency by our village. I think the facts are clear. This Public Works Director is an illegal patronage hire. All of this lying, grandstanding, and embarrassing theatrics are just another reason why I and the other trustees are hiring another attorney. The circus needs to end, and the rules need to be adhered to. And before the mayor goes off making his usual ignorant and bullying comment to me, are you done? Yes, Mayor Yukich, I'm done. This concludes my report.
Trustee Laha.
Okay, I'm off. I'm reporting for the Ability Awareness Committee. Our resident survey is live and we've had quite a few people taking it, so I just want to thank you. The survey is for all of us, not just people that have different needs or different abilities. It's just to get community feedback on where our committee needs to provide services. There's also a live volunteer link, which people have been filling out, which is really nice to see, and those two links are going to be up indefinitely that you can find on the website. Resources are going to be added to that link, and we're going to start with the Lincoln Way Special Rec Association as well as the Northern Will County SRA, and we're also going to be including events that fall under the scope of the committee specifically. With our first event, the Ability Awareness Committee is going to be helping the Best Buddies Kono visit, which is going to be Tuesday, October 5th, and that's from 5 to 8. And that is the first opportunity to volunteer if you'd like to, so you can use our link to do that. We also will be starting a rental closet for medical equipment. I know the township has one. We would like one as well. And we're going to be compiling a list of things that we kind of want, need, and could use. And those things will be available for community members to use, such as wheelchairs, canes, things along that line. Also, Holistic Riding Equestrian Therapy is hosting a fundraiser on September 18th and has also requested some volunteers that we plan to help with. So if you're interested in that, you could fill out the link, and they would really, really appreciate some help on that night. We are also planning a survey drop-off night at all of the senior facilities in Homer Glen and Homer Township, and that is just so in case people want to take this survey and they don't have internet access, and we'll also be picking them up. So if you want a written survey, please let me know and we can drop that off for you, and that's my report.
Thank you, Trustee Lahar. Trustee Rogers?
I just want to start by saying that November will be here sooner than we think. It's already September, which is amazing. And Christina and I will be working with staff to again host our Veterans Day event at Kronos. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do it last year because of COVID, but the 2 previous years we did it, had an amazing turnout. And so both Christina and I are looking for the residents' feedback on any things that you'd like to see in addition to what's been done in the past. In the past, we've invited various local VFWs and American Legions to attend, and anybody and everybody is welcome to attend. But we're looking for new ideas. If you have any ideas, please feel free to email us. So as of right now, that is still planned. So hopefully, knock on wood, COVID won't keep us from doing that again. Then I'd like to also add, it was brought to my attention today that these signs have been placed around our village. To the person or the persons who are responsible for the sign, you have brought shame and disgust to our village. In my 15 years of serving this community, I've never been more embarrassed to be associated with local government as I am today. The amount of messages from our residents that I got just today echoes my sentiment of disgust over such a classless act. It is clear to me that the person or persons who are responsible for this will see how badly this classless act will backfire on them, because our residents will not support this type of behavior. I'm hopeful that the residents look at your Ring cameras and find out who did this, because they brought shame to us and disgust. And I've never been more embarrassed than I am today. That's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee Rogers. Trustee Pazamino?
No report, sir.
Thank you. Trustee Renders?
No report. No report,
Oh,
sir.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. Trustee Fialko?
All right. Would just like to make mention that on Tuesday, August 31st, we had a special workshop for the road district issue, and it appears as though we are making progress in the right direction. I think it was long overdue, and I think that in the next couple weeks we should have a resolution. I believe things are trying to be prepared for the township to be able to look at the IGA and have their trustees also go over it. And I just wanted to let everybody know that I believe that it's heading in the right direction, and everything should be fine. So I will keep everybody informed as we progress. The other thing that I'd like to say is we have a hometown hero here in Homer Glen. I spoke with them this morning. I was at their house last week, and they're not asking for much, but this is a gentleman who has spent many, many years giving back to kids, giving back to charities, and being available for whoever needed him at the moment. And I asked their permission if I could say this for them today. And we have a Chicago Bear that lives, we have had several, but this particular Chicago Bear is Steve McMichaels. He's not in real good shape right now. He's been paralyzed now, his arms and his legs, since somewhere in January it all started. So the family's asking us to keep Steve in your prayers tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
That will end my report, sir.
Thank you, Trustee Fialko. Next will be Village Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to thank Trustee Pasmino and Trustee Consolino for your amazing presentation tonight for the tree awards. That was really nice. You guys did a great job on that. And thank you to all the residents who participated. I also would like to thank Jennifer for coming up with this 9/11 proclamation. I do agree that the village should focus more on a memorial event for the 9/11. Beth, you are correct that we do focus on this Veterans Day event, so it might be a little challenging to do two back-to-back. So I hope we can work on something in the future for that. With that being said, I do want to add this. I wasn't going to say anything about it tonight, but since it's already been going, I do feel this constant banter back and forth needs to end immediately. We as a village need to focus on becoming, better. We need to work together. This just right here is an embarrassment to the rest of the residents. I mean, Nikki, I know you care so much about your committee, and to follow that report that you had to, you could just tell it just brought you down from all the exciting things you wanted to talk about. So I do apologize for that. I do understand that some things need to be said and get off each other's chest, but maybe not now. Maybe it's not the time. We need to work together, you guys. I can't say it enough. This community needs more. They deserve more. We are better than this, and I'm tired of it. I'm asking you, the residents are asking you to please work together and figure this out. That will end my report.
Village Attorney?
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you. Public safety officials? Interim village manager?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Is there anything on public comment? I'm going to add one name onto that. Okay, the first one would be Zachary Blair, or Blaine. No Zachary? Wayne Felgenhausen.
First, I'd like to say that accepting the position of village trustee is commendable. You will make decisions that not everyone will agree with, but hey, you got to take the bad with the good. Please note, I make my comments as a person from outside looking in the village activities, and I am a resident of Homer Glen. I've been in the area now for 34 years. My comments are in reference to the motion to override the veto of the ordinance creating legislative counsel. In talking to some of the trustees, I've learned that they haven't received information from the village attorney. So why doesn't the trustees continue to contact the village attorney or meet with them in person? Why doesn't the trustees have the attorney removed for non-performance if they are upset with his performance? If they don't get a response from the attorney, why don't they file complaints with the Better Government Association and the Illinois Attorney Registration and Disciplinary Commission? Conversely, I've talked to the village attorney. As an investigator with the U.S. General Services Administration, I've learned that there are always two sides to a story. I've learned that he has tried to return calls in a timely manner, But when you are out of town or in a meeting, the return call can't be done right away. Also, there will be times when you will not agree with his advice. But remember, he is going by the law. Village trustees need to do their homework before they weigh in on an issue. Trustees are elected and given control of the administration as to the policy of the village with a, quote, legal obligation to administer it solely for the benefit of the village, end quote, not to create a bigger bureaucracy. Trustees need to know where your administration of the village ends and employees' responsibilities begin. And I also concur with the secretary? No.
Village clerk, thank you.
Village clerk, I apologize. This stuff that's being aired in public needs to end. That ends my comments.
Thank you, Wayne. Greg?
Collins?
Greg Collins? Okay. Next would be me. I'm doing this as a private resident, not the mayor, because I've had many residents call me about what is going on. And I have to agree with a lot of them. And now I have to agree especially with my children and my wife. Trustee Jennifer Consolino or Norma Ray, whichever you want, who knows? She's proud of each one of them. We need to get some things straight. First of all, you never talk to us. You don't say a word. If it is anything, it's go away. You represent this village, all of its residents, and all of the businesses. I have no idea why you're bullying, lying to our residents, to our board members, and to new people in the village. All these people come here to enjoy what we have here in Homer Glen. You're tearing it apart and making it a lot worse. I'm tired of your nonsense that you do at all the meetings. You got your camera filming people where they are so uncomfortable. They put papers up against their head and they put pillows up there, and you just keep on doing it and doing it and doing it. One of the ladies was part of Homer Glen. It was at one of the township meetings, and she was crying at one point because she was so embarrassed of what you were doing, but you just kept on doing it and you called her a newbie. I'm tired of the nonsense that you do all the time. Your meetings, how you tear up people on Facebook, to your own board. All I see is a bully and a liar. I'm not sure why you're even here. You must like stirring the pot. They have it boil over. Or you were just so miserable that you want other people to be like you and just beat people down. If anyone responds to you and you don't like what they say, you just block them, and then you start up with another name on Facebook. So you can spew your toxin poison out there to all your lemmings. No one's messing with you. But you have a habit of making people feel very uncomfortable and telling lies. I had a phone call from one, actually a text, from one lady, and I just realized I was having an affair with her. Because Jens Consolino is now accusing her of having inappropriate relationships with the mayor. I don't think I've ever met this girl yet. Might have, but I don't know who she is. So my daughter came up to me and said, "You're having an affair?" I says, "No, I'm not having an affair." Because this is what's on Facebook by her. There's a lot more on it, but you know what? I'm not going to dig and dig and dig. I agree with everyone that said, including, don't.
I have to, Mayor, 30 seconds. I just want to be fair to everybody.
This is a village we're talking about. If anyone did what she did, It's an embarrassment to this entire village. It's an embarrassment to me to even have to defend something like that. Apparently, people don't understand what this board does. Well, some of this board. There are some very good people on this board that have come on recently, then there's some that they just like to constantly stoke the fire. So, this is what I'd like to say. Here's a list that you need to apologize to. You need to apologize to my kids. You would need to apologize to Judy and her child. You need to apologize to Carlo Caprio and his family, including the kids and my wife and myself, and with an understanding that if any other nonsense comes forward, I'm going to have to pursue an appropriate legal step, because what you did was absolutely atrocious. I'm done. And if you want copies of what she did to this woman, I'll be more than happy to send it out to you. Next would be the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. Is there a motion to approve the following items? The accounts payable for the period of August 27th, 2021 through September 9th, 2021 in the amount of $126,173.06. The Village of Homer Glen's legal bills from Mahoney, Silverman, and Cross LLC in the amount of $2,827.50. Pay estimate number 2 from PT Farrow Construction Company for the 2021 road resurfacing program in the amount of $416,632.38. Approve a donation to the Will County Sheriff's Auxiliary Division in the amount of $3,500. 5, approve the appointments of the current list of EMA members. And 6, approve the appointment of Jim Riley as a deputy coordinator of EMA. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you,
I'd like to
trustee.
give one comment on the $3,500 though to the Will County Sheriff's Auxiliary Division. That money, just so everybody knows, came from the profits of the Homer Fest 2021. And this is something that's done annually. It was done during the last fest, and I just thought it was important to mention.
Thank you, trustee Fialko.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Laha?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye. Motion carries. Legislation and action items. Proclamation, oh, you already did that. 20th anniversary, oh, okay. Proclamation recognizing the 20th anniversary of the terrorist attacks on September 11th, 2001. Is there a motion to approve the attached proclamation recognizing the 20th anniversary of the terrorist attacks on September 11th, 2001?
So move.
Trustee Reinders?
Second.
Trustee Pazmino? Discussion?
We're going to read it?
I don't think I have it.
I've got it right here.
We can read
You
it.
asked me to start with it?
Yes,
Would you
can
like
we
me
start
to-
with the first whereas?
Okay. A proclamation recognizing the 20th anniversary of the terrorist attacks on September 11, 2001. Whereas on September 11, 2001, our nation experienced one of its most catastrophic and consequential attacks in its history, when 19 terrorists hijacked 4 commercial flights with the intent of generating abject fear and terror through destruction and mass murder of Americans. And
Whereas 2,997 souls died as a result of this attack in New York City, Washington, D.C., and outside of Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And
Whereas the initial reaction to attack was shock, followed by fear, grief, and anger, and then a sense of national unity bloomed. And
whereas the brave, the heroic victims of the attack, first responders who selfishly and tirelessly engaged in rescue and recovery operations, and servicemen and servicewomen who served in the military actions that preceded and followed all embody the American spirit and serve as a reminder that we are all resilient. And
whereas 20 years have passed since this attack, and yet we will never forget the sacrifices made to uphold our freedom, and now therefore
be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Homer Glen recognizes the 20th anniversary of the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001, and extends its utmost gratitude and appreciation of those who sacrificed their lives to protect our nation.
that's a proclamation. Pardon.
That's mine.
Oh, that's yours. Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Pazmino?
aye.
Trustee Laha?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Cancelino?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
aye.
And Mayor Yukich.
Aye. Number 2.
That's the one that's changed. We moved it up.
Oh, yeah. I did. Okay. What is the proper procedure for this one?
Just wanted to bring the board up to speed on I-4, which we've moved up. In terms of overriding the veto, we want to get into, it has it listed as a motion to override. Actually, the proper parliamentary procedure is first there would be a motion to reconsider the initial action that was taken. And then once that passes, you do the reconsideration and vote on the matter. That way, it extends back to the original date that the action was taken. So it is on the agenda, so we're fine in terms of doing it. It's not a situation where we can't take action on it or anything like that, but I just want to make sure we do it the proper way procedurally and under parliamentary rules. So the first item that would be in order would be a motion to reconsider the initial action.
I'll motion to reconsider.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion?
I actually have a discussion here. First of all, this ordinance is 2 ordinances in one. It's the motion to create the, oh, sorry.
I just wanted to say, this is just to reconsider, then obviously you get the discussion for the actual.
Okay, I just wanted clarification on the next thing. Oh, okay, okay, I see.
That's no problem. We just need a roll call.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Cancelino?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
No.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
Trustee Laha?
Aye.
And now the appropriate motion would be, now we need a motion to approve the ordinance 21-033.
So move.
Second.
Now we can have discussion. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Now I just wanted to declare, okay, so there's 2 motions here. The one is the creating the position of legislative counsel. The second is the actual appointment. You know, since we went through this the first time, since it was presented the first time, there have been new developments. Most notably, Mr. Balach has talked about potential lawsuits not being off the table, and that's absolutely his prerogative. That's him protecting the township, and I actually find that, you know, important. We're here to protect the village, so that's something that we need to make sure that we have first and foremost, especially if potential lawsuits may be on the horizon. But that's not my biggest concern. My biggest concern is what was just brought to our attention, my attention, all of our attention, about the hiring procedures that we plan to be following. We plan to have more transparency with our hiring and our appointments as far as our ordinances go. And this was something that was really upsetting to all of us. We wanted to make sure that things were done according to procedure. We wanted to make sure that things were done in code, with the code. So I am just kind of in question of how this appointment would be any different from a hire for the village. I completely agree that the position creation of legislative counsel is absolutely needed on this board. I am completely in agreement with that. Or I feel we need to really, really think about is keeping in line with these hiring beliefs that we just all agreed on and do the same here. We said in the beginning that we would go through a process, a hiring process. We said that we would give it its due diligence. If Odelson and Stark are that good fit for us, then so be it. We would have had gone through this procedure. But at least we would have put in our due diligence to this process, which it deserves. And why can't we go through the same process that we're expecting all the other hires to go through here in the village? And this is something that we just talked about, and this kind of had me thinking, and this is my only sticking point. It's kind of like 50% I am in total agreement of creating this new position of legislative counsel, but I'm not fully in agreement to just appoint a firm when we haven't gone through the due diligence process and the hiring process that we are trying to be transparent about. So I'm kind of in a little pickle here.
Trustee Laha, I agree with you 100%. I think that there should be a process in which people are brought before us and we're made aware of their qualifications and the requirements that we have.
Right.
But also fair comparison is the fact that if we're going by past practice with, I don't want to mention the name now, but a certain position that was not brought before anybody on this dais, it's kind of an unfair comparison, I think, but I see exactly what you mean.
Right. Just for transparency purposes, right.
But from what I've seen, this is something that the majority of the board feels is appropriate. And if you ask me, my opinion, I think it's 100% appropriate, especially under these circumstances. So that's just my 2 cents.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying. I completely hear you on this. I just feel like if we can't pick and choose when we're going to go through the process and when we're not. And like I said, Odelson and Stark may be the fit for us, but I think we owe it to the village to be transparent. I think this is something that we really should make sure that we are crossing our T's and dotting our I's with when it comes to hiring a firm. Now, like I said, I guess my main question here is, can this amendment, this ordinance be amended to have 2 different actions? Can we make this creation of the position in one amendment and then in a second amendment appoint for the position?
I agree with Trustee Pazmino. If you really roll back the pages, this is a law firm that's already done and been through due diligence and the trying to see how well they work. When they worked for the village for 8 years already, and they were fired immediately when somebody else came on board, the due diligence has been done already. They've proved themselves and have worked with this community for a long time. With that said, this is not equivalent to hiring a public works director without an ordinance. There's no parallel to it. So that's my comment. But thank you very much.
I'd like to make a comment, though. They did not get fired after 8 years. They worked with me, and I fired them because they were no good for the village.
Point of order. I would like to call the vote.
Actually, before you do that, there was a question posed by Trustee Laha. Yes, it is, if the board so chooses, you can amend the ordinance, if you will. You can bifurcate it, if would be the right word. One would be it would amend it to, number 1, voting on creating the legislative council, and then secondly, the appointment of Odelson and Sturk as the legislative council. So you would need a motion to amend the ordinance to that fashion.
Thank you.
And it goes right back to where it was in the first place. It goes right back to where it was in the first place.
And I also just want to state for the record that this is nothing personal.
Point of order, we called the vote.
Sorry.
What?
Oh, am I not allowed to?
We already
Well,
called.
was there a motion for amendment at all, or no?
Not that I
Yeah, I mean, I would like to make a motion.
I already called point of order more than once to call the vote.
And there was a question on the floor, and I've answered the question.
Okay, but now you just asked another question on top of that.
I said I answered a question. I'm making sure it's clear for the record what's going on here. If there are any amendments that are being considered, that would take place prior to calling the vote.
Okay, I mean, I would like to make that motion to break this ordinance up into two parts. I would like it to make one for the creation of the position and two for the appointment of the position.
I mean, I would second that. I don't see it hurts anything. I mean, obviously, there's people in here who have already
Motion to
chosen who
table.
they want, so they can clearly just vote how they want to vote, just two separate votes. I think in all fairness to Trustee Laha, that's the courteous thing to do.
And
I'm just trying to do the right thing here.
And I'm still calling point of order to call the vote.
Well, at this point, there's a motion to amend on the table and a second. So you need a roll call vote on the motion to amend, please.
Just making my notes. Hold on one second, please.
I still get to say something.
Trustee Consolino.
No.
Trustee Reinders, sorry.
No.
Trustee Rogers.
Yes.
Trustee Pazmino.
No.
Trustee Laha.
Yes.
Trustee Fialko.
Nope.
And then you can call the roll.
What I want to, all right, this still has a problem. Even though you want to vote on it, go ahead and vote on it. I've told you all along, I don't have an issue with you having a secondary legislative council, if that's what you want.
Point of order, I request to call the vote.
If that's what you're looking for, what I'm running into a problem is it's a conflict of interest, no matter how you look at it. You can't put one lawyer at two different places to defend either one of them.
Calling the vote again.
All right, call the vote.
Trustee Reinders.
Yes.
Trustee Rogers.
No.
Trustee Pazmino.
Yes.
Trustee Laha.
No.
Trustee Fialko.
Yes.
Trustee Consolino.
Yes.
And Mayor Yukich.
Mayor Yukich.
No, I don't want it to go through. Not until you hire some other people. But motion carries. All right. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 21-037, an ordinance granting approval of 1, a variance to increase the allowable lot coverage impervious surface area to 88%, and 2, a variance to reduce the required setback for the parking drive aisle area from 5 feet to 0 for certain real property located at the 15765 Anico Drive, Homer Glen, Illinois, subject to the following conditions. 1, remove items that are being stored outside until such a time as a special use permit for outdoor storage has been granted by the village. And 2, village review and approval of final engineering. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Trustee Fialko,
Second.
trustee
Was it
was
Trustee
Pazmino.
Pazmino?
Pazmino?
I'm sorry, who was the second? Trustee Laha?
Discussion?
Mike, I'd like you to give us a little update on this. This seems pretty complicated as to the history that comes along with it. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about what was going on over there, because it seems like it's been fractionalized as to the process. I know that the Planning Commission voted 7-0 to adopt it, but you're familiar with the case, right, or the ordinance?
Yeah, I mean, it is more of a zoning.
Okay.
Specific question you have?
No, if we could have the history on it, it wasn't a question, it was if you could give us a little rundown of the history and how they got here, because this has been I believe this has been going on for a while, and there is some flooding that was addressed by some people in here. with things that the swale and the drains on their properties to the pond had not been maintained and are overgrown. So this is something that you've been pretty on top of, Mike, with all the different areas that have had the same issue. So I was just wondering if you could give us a little bit of an update in regards to what has happened over here in the past up till now.
Yeah, so what had occurred was it did start out as an issue where the property owner, the village became aware that the property owner was placing additional stone in an area that was along the east property line. So they were notified of, that they weren't allowed to do that. They needed to at least get a permit. So we went through the process of working with that property owner to try to determine what is it exactly that you're looking for, what are the needs. We basically relayed the requirements both with engineering and also with zoning as far as setbacks and lot coverage and things of that nature. We've been working with the property owner to try to basically to provide them with the needs that they're looking for. They're looking to provide additional parking along the north side of their property line. The property was encumbered by multiple drainage and utility easements. On the north side, there was a 25-foot existing drainage easement, but then there was also next to that was another 45-foot drainage easement. We did look through some of the documentation, the historical documentation, to try to figure out reasons for that second easement, but we really couldn't come up with any reasons for that. So we've been working. We've met with the property owners multiple times, and again, it's not only an engineering, but a lot of this also comes to a zoning issue because of the setback requirements, the lot coverage requirements, things of that nature. So we kind of came up with some different ideas as to how they can get additional parking for their property by still maintaining, meeting the various codes of the village. They're seeking some variance requirements as far as the lot coverage. And I think zoning can probably answer some of the questions about the additional lot coverage that they're seeking. Multiple buildings in this subdivision or properties in this subdivision have already kind of done those, so there's kind of precedence in this subdivision to exceed the existing lot coverage. We are going to be working with this property owner to make sure that the drainage issues are going to be met. They're still going to need to meet the drainage requirements of the village's code. We're working with other portions of the subdivision as far as other drainage issues that are going on and other violations. We're working on those properties as well too. So I think if that...
So nothing in here would prevent you from actually making that corrections that you need as far as drainage issues that you're working on. As far as you can tell, this wouldn't change that for you, right?
No, it would not.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add to that, along this property, one of the things that did occur is there was some reestablishment of drainage flow along the rear property of the property just to the west of the subject property last year, because they had expanded their parking area all the way to the back of the property line it was years ago, decades ago. And they had reestablished, and then what ended up happening is this property ended up flooding due to that drainage easement being reestablished and the water flow coming down. What we have heard from residents in this area that have complained for years about flooding is that it's dry now. So they have successfully reestablished that drainage flow, but I think this property owner is working with the same engineer and the same attorney that's helping them hopefully reestablish everything along the line to get it off to his property as well.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Pasmino?
Aye.
Trustee Laha?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Cancelino?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
And Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, is there a motion to approve ordinance number 21-038, an ordinance granting 1, a preliminary and final plat of subdivision, 2, a map amendment, C3, General Business District to R6A, attached single-family residential district 3, a special use for an amendment to the plan unit development for certain exceptions, and 4, site improvement plans for certain and real property generally located at the southwest corner of Glengarry Drive and South Waveland Way in the Goodings Grove Plan Unit Development, Homer Glen, Illinois, subject to the following conditions. A, an exception to permit the net density of 8.99 units per acre, an exception to other residential standards that are at least 30% of all garages shall be side-loaded. C, an exemption of exterior materials to include rear-loaded garages below the front grade as depicted as the proposed elevations. And D, an exception to permit minimum building separations of 15.50 feet side to side. Case number HG2118PS. Is there discussion? Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Anders. Discussion?
Director Salamovich, just a quick question on this. So this is phase 2. Are the units in the same proximity as phase 1, or there's pretty much just 8-point-something units per acre?
The density,
Yeah.
is that what you're referring to? I believe it's exactly the same.
Yes. Any other questions?
Technically, that's 9, correct? I mean, if you're 8.99, you're at 9. The only thing I would ask here is the map. You know the buffer between, there's currently 48 townhomes out of 76 have been built, correct?
Correct.
Okay. If you look at the map on that south end, there's a buffer there that butts up right next to the Home Depot. And my concern would be this, because we've seen it happen already, similar to the gas and wash. When you have delivery trucks, Home Depot's been there for a long time, correct? So now you have a subdivision now on its second phase butting right up to the Home Depot. Now I do see the buffer there, the landscaping buffer according to the code, but I just want to make sure that that is sufficient enough at this point for phase 2, in your opinion, that it would resolve the problem of diesel trucks going through there making deliveries, so all of a sudden we're not getting complaints about trucks making deliveries at that point, when Home Depot obviously has been there a long time. And my second question would be, do we ever have I guess not a commitment, but a waiver of some kind? When somebody buys a property that close to commercial property, obviously we have the ordinances that have certain footages and the buffers between, but have we ever looked at the possibility of having that builder with those tenants that are that close to commercial property, where they are signing onto that piece of property or to purchase that property with the understanding that they are next to commercial property, and with that will come certain noise and certain inconveniences by deliveries and whatever else would be associated with that business here in Homer Glen?
I don't know of any, we don't have anything in our code that would require that. I don't know if MI Homes has something like that when they sell those units. You could ask the applicant, they're here tonight. The applicant could answer that question. We don't have anything in our code, though.
They're here?
Yes.
Perfect.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you.
My name is Zach Blair. I'm the one who signed the sheet. You called my name earlier. I'm from Rosenova and Whitaker in Naperville, and we represent MI Homes. And so the answer to the question I think that you posed is that currently there are restrictions. This was part of initially a commercial development. So we came in and got a variance for phase 1. At that time, Home Depot amended the covenants, conditions, and restrictions, as well as the overall shopping center restrictions, to permit the residential use. So there was a mechanism. We have amended the agreements for a second time to release the second phase. Those agreements will be recorded at closing.
I don't think that we're worried about Home Depot, we're worried about the residents with the commercial development. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think we're worried about Home Depot. Home Depot is pretty easy to get along with. I'm basically right in front of them. But it's the residents, you know, in the springtime, their trucks are backed up along that side road to the north of Home Depot. So that's going to be the question. Are the residents going to complain when all those trucks are lined up in the spring to deliver all the flowers and the trees?
Could be. I mean, there's a good possibility that they might, but I think that when they buy into the community, they're going to look around and see that they're kind of in the middle of what used to be, or what is a commercial development. So I think that would factor into the homeowner's decision at the time that they, you know, do their inspections and prior to closing.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead, Rose.
Just to add a little fun to this, you might want to get a waiver for the bullfrogs over there because they are so damn loud you can't sleep at night.
With that said, I think what we were asking though is, do you present that to the people making the purchase that obviously Home Depot's been there a long time?
No,
you've got people moving in on the north end of Home Depot. So do you have that in your discussion with the people that are moving in? Because we've heard that before. Oh, they can look around and do their due diligence and know that they're moving in next to that. But that could be on a sunny Sunday. But on Monday, when the deliveries are being made, it becomes a different story. And then the village is getting complaints about that. So I think it's important that maybe somewhere in the sale of those, especially those houses on the south end, that you communicate that with the purchaser.
Do you currently have anything like that?
No, not in phase one.
And I only bring this up because it's happened already. It's not something new here. It's happened. And so that really, I think it looks beautiful. What you're building over there is beautiful, but I do see that as a potential problem with those houses on the north end of Home Depot.
Well, we are adding a significant amount of landscape buffer that's much more dense than what's in phase one to hopefully address that issue proactively.
I'll add, Trustee Fialco, that I'm just looking at the landscape plan here. So on the south side, south of the pocket park, it's a mixture of firs and spruces, some of which are even 10 feet at the time of installation, which will be pretty large. And I think the pocket park also adds to buffer that versus how the phase one has units that are right on that Home Depot parking lot. There's a significant amount of buffer on phase two.
I would agree with you, but we just had somebody that lives about little more than a quarter mile north of the gas and wash, who has a buffer of landscaping and many, many other things in a hill before it gets to that home, and it still was a problem. So that's why I'm addressing it the way I'm addressing it, because we know there can be the issues. And being that the trees are brand new and they still have to grow and that buffer is there, I understand all that. But we have had the problem in the past where it becomes an issue. So I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that, and maybe you could work something out, maybe not. But again, I think your development is beautiful. What you've got going is very, very nice over there. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fialco?
Aye.
Trustee Cancelino?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Abstain.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
Trustee Laha?
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to have legislative attorney Congress commence and search for a permanent village manager?
So move.
Second.
Who's first?
Trustee Pazmino and Trustee Cancelino.
Okay, is there any discussion?
I would just, like some clarification on what is the definition of search, and are we giving them an open checkbook? Is there some kind of a budget set for this? Or is it just go look for somebody and find it? Is there a number here that we're comfortable with, or is it just an open checkbook?
I say we use the same method that we used before. Looks like we're not new to this. We've done this for when we had our temporary village manager. She was a little more expensive because of the fact that she was a temp, but we're looking for somebody permanent. So as long as we keep it along those lines, I think we'll be okay. Now, as far as how much, that's something that we won't commence this until we have that pricing. But of course, I'm sure we'll do our due diligence and we'll get with the village manager and HR and, I'm sorry, interim village manager and HR, and we'll come up with a number for you.
Okay, so my understanding, if I'm hearing you right, is we're going to use HR Glove as we did in the past. They send their resumes to the attorney. The attorney then goes through them and then sends them to us, and we decide whether or not they're viable candidates to interview, correct?
Well, they will be one of the resources, because according to what I've looked up here, we've used, the village, say we, HR Gov, we've placed ads in the ILCMA website, and we've also used our village manager to, help us out with the search as well. Not the village manager, I'm sorry, our village council's firm. So I don't see how we can't do the same with this, and
No, yeah,
rather
I'm
use
agreeing.
several resources instead of just one.
Right, so we'll place the ad, we'll use HR Gov, they send it to this attorney goes through them, throws out the Taco Bell managers or whoever doesn't qualify at all. They then send us the resumes, we go through the resumes and vote on which ones we want to interview, right? Because that's what we've done in the
If you're
past.
trying to hammer out a process now, I
mean, that's what we've done in the
I'm
past.
assuming that the people we hire are going to filter out Taco Bell applicants, I'm assuming.
Right.
Not sure if you're referring to me as a Taco Bell or something like that. That's why you're saying.
No, we literally had it.
Yeah, okay, well, I do have a restaurant, yeah, but it's not fast food. But anyway, I believe that there is a process in place that we could all work on.
I just think we need to have can we have some kind of an understanding of what that's going to be and before we just turn it over and we're getting these big bills, that's all.
Why don't we all start working on it together and giving our ideas and follow the path kind of that we have in the past?
So that, that's what I'm asking for, some ideas here now.
No, I'm willing to work together on this. This is not.
I'm assuming HR is going to be involved. HR will get applications because this will be posted on our website. Again, it'll be posted on the ILCMA website. The legislative attorney has resources as well as HR Gov. Why limit ourselves to one source when we can have several?
No, I'm not saying that. I just want an understanding of what it's going to be. I would recommend that the resumes, because in the past, they did go to the attorney and the attorney separated them out and gave them to us, but that was before we had HR. So I would recommend that the resumes come into HR feeds through them, works with the attorney, and then we get them and decide. In the past, that's what we did. We looked at them and said, we kind of had a consensus of who we wanted to interview and who we didn't want to interview. I think it'll be cheaper since we have HR now, and be a better process. I just want a process in place before we just turn this over and end up with, substantial legal bills that could have been saved.
So then I have a question, since I'm new to this and I don't know how this process worked before. The legislative attorney is just going to oversee everything, or what is their role in this?
And when the last time we did it, we didn't have HR.
Okay.
So Eric, you correct me if I'm wrong, but the attorney, the HR Gov was instructed to send the resumes to the firm, and the firm went through them and washed out, which ones were just didn't. I think people don't understand what all is involved in being a village manager.
Right.
And then they sent it to us, and we voted on, okay, bring these people in, because it's a process. Some people have to fly in, we have to put them up overnight, it is a process. And again, my opinion is nobody's going to look at this and say, that's a village I want to go work with, So it's going to be a process. And we didn't have HR last time, so that's why I'm saying, since we do have an HR department, there could be some cost savings here, and it won't cost us as much as it did last time. But, I just was wanting some kind of an understanding so that we don't end up with, because it's an expensive process.
I think being that it's been done before, the process will put itself together while it's taking place. It sounds like you've been involved with a few of them and that you know the process, so you may be able to help out with that process. I think it's a good idea. I think it's good what you bring up, but I think the process will take place while the interviews are and the people are being brought forward. And being that you've done it so many times, you should be able to help us out in that process, I would think. So, thank you.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Mayor, if I could just ask a question for clarification. I know the motion before the board is to have the legislative attorney oversee the search, and that's obviously the board's prerogative. I'm just trying to find out what the role of HR would be in this case. When our job posting in the past, when Eric's firm was overseeing it, as Trustee Rogers stated, all the resumes went directly to the law firm, right? I believe, right, to Eric was the contact for the job posting. For most of the jobs that we've had, it's HR manager has been that case. So I'm just trying to find out what the role is, because the motion here, it sounds like the intent is that the legislative attorney would be that contact person, and it sounds like there's some disagreement on the board as to what role that would be. So I'm just trying to get clarification on that.
Well, it's my understanding that the legislative attorney will work hand in hand with HR. They will acquire the contacts, the resumes, so forth, and then forward it to the HR department, at which point they'll filter it all through the trustees. And if we have to tweak it a little, we could tweak it.
At the time, correct.
I also want to point out, because we discussed this before via email, that it is negotiable with HR Gov as well, from what I understand.
Yes.
Okay.
You can tweak your contract however you say do this, but don't do that, you know, kind of like ordering a hamburger.
And therefore, and I thought it too, with the costs, it's negotiable as well.
It is, yep.
I'm sorry, if I have just more clarification. Are we looking for a proposal from HR Gov or those options bringing back to the board? I don't want to take the wrong direction.
No, I would say yes.
Yes to the HR Gov.
The legislative attorney will direct, they will handle the whole process with HR Gov, and then they would put everything through our HR department.
And obviously, if there's a contract to be signed with HR Gov, that'll come to the board.
Yes.
Everybody agreeable with that?
Yes.
So it sounds like you don't have to do anything for a while because we're going to pay the attorneys to do most of it.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fialko.
Aye?
Trustee Consolino.
Aye.
Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers.
No.
Trustee Pazmino.
Aye.
Trustee Laha.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 21-039, an ordinance amending 45-A, the Village of Glen Code of Ordinances, entitled Duties and Authority Termination of Employees?
So move.
Second.
Discussion.
So move.
No, we got
Never mind. Motion and a second.
There is none. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers.
No.
Trustee Pazmino.
Aye.
Trustee Laha.
Aye.
Trustee Fialko.
Aye?
Trustee Consolino.
Aye.
Mayor Yukich.
Symbolic.
Okay. Next, is there a motion to approve ordinance number 21-040, an ordinance amending sections 10-5, 10-6, and 6, 10-7?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'm not done.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh. All apologies.
Of the Village of Homer Glen Code of Ordinances regarding the establishment of memberships of standing committees and subcommittees of the Village Board.
I'll make that motion.
I will second.
Just for clarification, it's trustee Fialko and trustee Consolino?
That'll work.
I got it.
Yes, I made the motion, yes. I don't know who seconded it. Jennifer did? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to amend the ordinance at this point, and I'm asking for your guidance at this time, Eric, in doing so. And it comes down to, on the second page of the ordinance, under section 10.6, membership, I would like to remove "and festival." It's down in the lower, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The seventh line up from the bottom where it says parade and festival, just to remove "and festival."
Actually, I had sent this to Eric earlier in the week because it looks like this was copied off of like an old ordinance. Parade and Festival Department, the committee shall consist of an equal number of memberships appointed by the village and the township. The township has nothing to do with the fest. And if we're gonna have the township, equal number of townships, then we're back to where we were in 2019, then they should probably be responsible for paying for a portion of it then. I think that whole thing needs to be stricken. Parade and Festival Committee shall consist of an equal number of members appointed by the village and the township should be stricken.
Well, when we were on the parade committee, Rose, maybe you could help us out here a little bit. Wasn't it equally divided between the members that were on the parade committee?
Not really, no, no.
How was it divvied up? 'Cause you and I were on there.
Right, we were on there, but it was mostly township people.
Mostly town,
It
okay.
was mostly township.
All right, I'm in agreement with you, Trustee Rogers. I don't see why we can't remove that whole sentence out of there, so it would continue from the Homer Harvest Days Committee and the Parade and Festival Committee shall consist of an equal number of members appointed by the village and township. I am making the motion to amend that by removing that sentence from 10.6. Second?
So would that be amend the amendment?
Second,
We're taking them out.
So the amendment would be to remove that entire sentence essentially there.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And then I think you also need to address the name of that in section 3, the establishment, you call it the Parade and Festival Committee, I believe. What is the name? It's just Fest Committee?
In section 3, where it says section 10.5 of the village code?
Yep. In there.
Parade needs to be taken out.
Yeah. So it's just a,
Adjustment to the, oh my gosh, my mic keeps turning off. I have an adjustment.
Well, I think do I not have to make that since?
It's the same
I
sentence.
only believe you can amend one time, right?
It's the same
you can have
sentence.
several amendments to the ordinance.
And you've got to vote on each one then?
No,
Or we can combine it?
you can combine them.
Okay, fair enough.
It's the same sentence, actually. I just wanted to correct the name. It's Ability Awareness Committee, not Ability and Awareness. It's just a small fix. Section 10.5, Establishment.
So Trustee Fialko, do you want to accept that amendment as well?
I am.
Part of your motion?
I am, yes, sir.
And Trustee Consolino, are you willing to accept those amendments?
Yes.
Okay. So it looks like what we have here is under section 3, under 10.5 establishment, we're removing parade and we're also removing the word and between ability and awareness. Under section 4, 10.6 membership, we're removing the entire sentence. This would be the sentence that reads, the Parade and Festival Committee shall consist of an equal number of members appointed by the...
I think it needs to back up to where it says department period and then start from the.
There you go. Thank you. So, just that entire sentence.
Correct.
So those are the 3 amendments? Very good.
Did you want to read it off then?
No, that's, you took care of it. I just want to make sure everybody knew where it was at.
Okay.
I just want to also add that I had 3 separate committee members reach out to me on various committees, 3 separate committees actually, and they were really concerned by this. They felt like you were going to discourage committee members from speaking their mind for fear of if they disagree with the chairman, that chairman has the right to fire them. And they just felt like this was just a slap in the face, because they're giving up their time, and if they, don't walk the line or disagree or want to speak up about something, then the chairman can fire them. So I could only speak for myself with regards to that, but I can see where they would look at it as a little bit insulting.
Well, during that time, you've been on several committees over the last 6 years, and in your experience, how many times have you removed somebody from a committee?
Never.
Never removed anybody? Okay.
It's not my job.
I would like to say, it's not our intent as chairman or chairwoman to remove people because we don't like what they say. I know that's not mine. That's not how I run my committees at all.
No.
Rose and I actually we've basically spent almost 2.5 hours at our first parks meeting, literally begging for people to give their input and what they want and speak. And so I don't think that is the intention here at all.
No.
I agree.
I agree.
Well, you'll have to do some convincing at your committee members.
Well, I don't know.
Just tell them the truth. Speak their minds, put them at ease, because.
Well, I know both my committees, they speak very freely. I know I should probably a little bit more strict with Robert's rules, but that's how we do things.
I think time will tell too.
Right.
I think people understand
Yeah, just
that.
give us a chance. We're here for the right reasons. So.
I love my committee members. I love them all, so I'm not going to have a problem.
I love you, Melissa.
So have we got all the amendments taken care of then?
Yep, so the only thing we would need,
Madam Clerk, call the roll.
yeah, this is on the amended motion.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
Trustee Laha?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye?
Trustee Cancelino?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Now we have to
Now we have to go
go
on.
actually back to the original motion, correct?
No, you're okay. You guys accepted the amendment?
We did.
Correct.
Oh, then I misunderstood and I
you know what
rescind
then?
mine.
Okay,
No.
so this was-
Mine was, I thought, just to make the changes to what we were
Yours-
voting on.
Yours is cleaner, so we can do that. That was a motion to approve the motion to amend the motion.
Correct.
So
Now
it's
we're
the-
back to the motion.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, there's nothing under workshop right now?
So wait,
Gotta call,
yeah.
she's gotta call the roll.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
Trustee Laha?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye?
Trustee Cancelino?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
No.
Okay, back to workshop again, there's nothing more.
I don't think so.
Is there any old business? We have an update on proposed intergovernmental agreement with the Homer Township Road District.
I think Trustee Fialko addressed that in his report.
Is Brent Portfolio here tonight? Brent, would you be able to come up to the podium and just give us a brief update with the township and the road district with the village? Thank you, sir.
We had a successful workshop on the 31st with the Homer Glen trustees and the Homer Township trustees and the mayor and the clerk and some other folks that helped out. We are making progress, which is a wonderful thing. I had sent to Eric a list of exhibits which describes the property, assets, and other things that the road district would like to claim as surplus and have back if the IGA is not approved or signed. And I also sent him another set of exhibits that would go with the IGA that has a reduced list of surplus items that the road district would like back for doing less work, because Homer Glen would be doing the glut of work for us, the heavy lifting, the snow removal, the salt, the tree trimming, things like that. So from what I understand, Eric is going to try to get the wording done in the next few days.
Correct.
Try to, and send it to me. I'll send it to the Homer Township Board for approval,
hopefully Monday. Steve, we have a meeting Monday? Excuse me? But the meeting's on Monday. Okay. So we'll try to get it through the board on Monday. So then the next village meeting, which is in 2 weeks from today, I believe, it would be up for a vote. So if there's any comments that anybody has on any of the exhibits, please let me know as soon as possible so we can turn this around. I know we discussed a lot of different things at the workshop, and I'm hoping that everybody's on board with what I came up with. If you want to call me or email me, please do so if you have any issues with what I came up with. I think it's fair for everybody.
Brent also provided me this afternoon with his view of what the responsibilities between the village and the highway district, so that'll be incorporated in there as well. Also, as an update, I have reached out. I've had communications with Ben Benson over the city of Lockport to address the issue with the other municipalities. So
That makes me very happy. Thank you. It sounds like we're progressing, we're moving forward, just like we should be for the taxpayers and the residents of this community, and thank you for that.
It comes down to the taxpayers and saving money for all of them. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Is there any old business?
Sir, I got a couple things really quick, unless anybody else had some.
Is this under old or new?
This is old business. Yeah. Just an update, Matt. And I, just very concerned about it because winter's coming soon. Where are we at on the whole salt thing? Did we acquire any? Is it ours now?
Trustee Pasquino, we have not acquired any. I know last meeting I mentioned that we were hoping to get some prices back. We did get one price back. We're hoping that the next price will be a little lower, of course, and hopefully we'll have some of that back potentially for an action item at the next board meeting.
Thank you.
We're still under old business. I'd like to mention something that was commented on just a little bit earlier with the veto that Mayor Yukich just put through. Now, with that fireplace that was approved, it was a variance. I asked Joe Baber about the situation, and if they did not get the permit to put that fireplace in, he was looking into it to file. I called him. I said, I want to make sure we're firing on all 8 cylinders here. They had started the fireplace previous to getting the variance. Now, I don't know if they had a permit or they did not have a permit, but let's say they didn't. There is a fine that the village charges. It's 3 times the permit fee. Now, I don't know, what is the permit fee for a fire pit or a fireplace you'd put in the backyard?
Trustee Fialco, I don't know the answer to your question about the permit fee and how much it costs, but I did hear from Casey today that they did not, oftentimes if they think they're going to come in for the permit and they're going to go for a variance, there's something that Joe and Casey work with the residential homeowners and they don't charge them that same fee. And they did not charge that in this case.
Right, so they did not charge them the triple times 3 from the regular fee that it cost for that permit.
Correct.
So they were in agreement with that. And as far as the variance, we only gave the variance to be able to do that, which they couldn't give them the permit until we gave them the variance. And that's the way we all understood it. So we took care of everything that we had to do in regards to the variance. So I'm very confused about the veto that took place, and we're going to follow the codes. As far as I know, we did follow the code. So I don't know what category this falls into. Maybe when Joe is here, we could talk about it a little bit more. But the veto didn't make any sense to me. Everything was done that had to be done. We talked to everybody that had to be talked to. The neighbors were okay with it. The building, Joe Baber was okay with it. The fire department was okay with it. But evidently, Mayor Yukich, you are not okay with it, but I'm still confused as to what you were trying to accomplish with that, because I don't see where anybody didn't dot the I's or cross the T's. The variance was all that we were looking for at that time when we put it through. The rest of it was already taken care of on the village's behalf. So that is all I have to say under old business.
Is there any new business?
Anybody else? I don't want to be over talking. Do you have anything?
Well, I got one more thing, but I don't know if it would go under new business or old business. I'd like to put on the next agenda the topic of the IGA for parks with the township for discussion.
We're going to put that under new business for now. Is that okay?
Works for me.
Are we now under new business? Under new business, I've received something from IML a couple weeks ago. I just want to make sure us as a village are on top of this. And I don't know, we have some old parts of Homer Glen, we have new parts of Homer Glen, but I do not know the percentage of the lead line services that we have here. I don't know if we have that information already from past times that the water issue has been talked about, but as part of HB 3739, the state created the lead service line replacement fund. Subject to future and annual appropriations, will be used to distribute state grants to municipalities and other community water suppliers for costs associated with lead service line replacement. As we have seen other communities have run into this problem, I'd like to stay again 10 yards ahead of the game, and I'm asking for you, Matt, to check, if you haven't already, with the Illinois American Water and see if they have a percentage available for you with the lead line services that we may have running to homes, and to start working with House Bill 3739 to get that taken care of, since there's monies available to take care of the issue. Thank you.
Is there anything else under new business? All right, next item is executive session. Is there a motion to go into executive session for purpose of discussing executive session minutes and pending and potential litigation?
Nobody wants to go into executive session? Okay, does anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
Is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
Right, freezing. Freezing.